So now we have 2 passing tests, right? And let's go ahead and make our third test, which is going to be a little bit more involved, but it's going to show you some of the cool stuff you can do with Jasmine. Well, and Jest, actually, for that matter. So we're going to have a search word here. This is testing exactly what I was talking about earlier, that if I put black here, that I get black mirror and orange is the new black. So I'm going to say const search word equals black. Okay. I'm going to do component dot find. Did I not update this? Oh, no, this is fine. Okay. Component dot find input dot simulate. So we're going to simulate an event on the input. Before I move on, something I did want to talk about here. So I did component.find show card here. So that's one of the cool things about Enzyme is you can use find either with like CSS selectors, right, which is what we're going to do here with this, or you can actually do it with React components. You can say, hey, I expect this React component to be found there, which I think is pretty cool, right? So it works for searching for shallowly rendered React components, which is why we import show card up here. Okay. So now we're going to simulate an event. It's going to be a change event, and we're going to give it the event that we want it to pass, which is going to be event target value search word. Right? This is the event that we want to happen on the input, right? Does that make sense? So if we go look at our input here in search.jsx, we have this input. This is what it's targeting, and we want to trigger this onChange handler. That's the goal here. So this is as if the user had typed in black into the search box. That's what line 19 is currently doing. Okay, next thing we're going to do is const show count equals. And what we're going to do, I'm just going to kind of shortcut this for you. We want it to do this particular thing right here, where it's trying to find, we want it to do this filter. Yep, right here. So I'm just going to copy and paste this right now. Typically, you don't want to duplicate logic in your tests. That's a bad idea. So what I would normally do is I would abstract this out to like maybe a module and then test that module to make sure that it worked. And then after I was assured that that test module worked, then I would bring it into my tests. That's not really a super useful exercise, so I'm just going to copy and paste this, but I'm telling you that this particular thing that we're doing right now is kind of a bad idea. So there we go. So now what show count is going to be is it's going to, and I don't want this.state.search term, I want search word. Oh yeah, we have to bring this component part right down there too. Okay. So some of the story is we have this show count right here. This is going to be however many shows that it actually finds, right? So the reason why I'm doing this as opposed to just putting the number that I know it's going to be, which is 2, I'm doing this so that if I add stuff or take stuff away from that data.json file, that this test doesn't have to be updated every time that I do that. Okay. So now I can say expect component dot find show card dot length to equal show count. So in this particular case, let's step through this line by line to kind of make sure that you get what's going on. I have search word, right? So black, right? I'm going to render out the component. I'm going to take that component. I'm going to find the input on there. You might want to put a class on there, something like that. Right now I know there's only going to be one input, but this is lazy. This can be any CSS selector. Okay? Dot find input. Then I'm going to simulate as if the user was typing on it, right? I'm going to simulate a change event on that input, and I'm going to pass this event as the event for it, right? So this is simulating a DOM event, right? Which is with a target and value, right? Because if you look at our search.jsx, what is it reading? Event.target.value, right? Event.target.value. That's what it's actually reading. And we're passing in this search word, black, into that, okay? So now this component's going to kick off that re-render cycle inside of this particular component, and it's going to re-render to that new state, right? That new state, if we look here, that it's going to set this to be black, right? Coming back to our spec, then show count is coming. If we look down here in search, it's basically simulating what's happening here, this filter statement. And then we're saying, does the amount of show cards match how many shows I expect it to be there? Cool? Does that make sense? So now if we do yarn test, oh, it's not running the test. You need to say, please actually test this. It passes, just kidding. Okay. So it expected to receive 2, and it got a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, yeah, no. Right now we're giving it the actual shows. What we actually want is the length. And I guess we could have just done length up here, since that's actually what that variable represents. So key is that I just added here, we need this dot length statement right there. Oh, no, down there, dot length. Okay, let's try that again. Expected value to equal 14 and received 2. That's neat.
Is your show count getting the index rather than the actual shows?
Do you need to do 2 uppercase?
So there's 2 uppercase here and 2 uppercase there.
What about on show title or show description?
Show title and show description. No, it's doing that collectively here with this 2 uppercase.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Right.
So it expected 14. So it's something wrong with this statement right here, because 2 is the correct answer. So my test is actually correct. My test case is not doing it correctly. All right, preload.shows.filters show title to uppercase index of search word.
Greater than equal to 0?
Oh, and this needs to be, oh yeah, that's exactly it. So I dropped that greater than or equal to 0. Yep, okay. Because this is a filter, it still needs to be true or false. So it was dropping 1 show, which was the 0th element, which is why we're getting 14. Thank you. So now we get all of the tests, right? So this is why I was saying that this is a good way to phrase it, because there's a check mark that says search renders correctly, right? It is doing that.